now.
Safety first. Oops. I'm tired of you stealing my life. I'm tired of you making me feel if I'm good or bad. I'm tired of you deciding how my day is. No more of you deciding my life. No more of you stealing life from me. This is it. I take back my life. I'm in control. I decide if I'm good or bad. Not you. I deserve a great life. This is about me. This isn't about you.
I think one of the prevailing things that are happening here is that what I'm hearing is this intense sort of discussion around self-hatred and when you're in a bigger body. And I wanted to ask people, like down the front there, you who's 20, is your life better? Are you happier? Is everything better now that you're slightly smaller than you were before? I mean, I think one of the things
let's get an answer to the question. Are you?
Absolutely. And I'm not a little bit smaller, I'm a lot smaller. And I did do research into everything. I can still have kids, and that may not have happened if I had stayed the size I was. Like, my question to you is, can you honestly say that you are 100% happy and healthy? Like, you have no medical conditions whatsoever, you have no problems at all with your health at your weight as compared to...
Can we have an answer? No. The question's been asked. What's the answer?
I think it's really interesting that I feel like I need to justify my existence in this room.
No, but hang on a minute. You asked her to justify her decision.
I asked her if she was happy. I didn't ask her to justify what her health issues now, or if there is any.
But have you got any health issues?
No, I'm perfectly happy.
I'd love to know, like, what do you see as healthy with eating?
Yeah, it's interesting that you've just assumed that I eat bad food because of my size.
I'd love to know, because if you're really healthy, do you have any joint issues, or so you're completely...
I swim 2.5 kilometres a day. I walk, I exercise all the time. I am in a synchronised swimming team, and I really resent the fact that I have to actually justify my existence and my ability to live in the world in a bigger body in a way that I'm happy with.
But we're all talking about health tonight. I mean, the whole show is about weight and health.
No,
so it's not an unreasonable...
About is surgery, and we haven't actually talked about the possibility that you can actually live in your life.
No, but we have.
This body.
We have talked about that. But all I'm saying is that a question to anyone about what they eat in the context of this program, anyone in this room, is perfectly reasonable, I think.
But it's interesting that they've only been directed at fat people.
No, it's not about being fat or not being fat. It's about what everybody eats. Well, it's about what everybody eats and what health is.
You're conflating
No, I'm not conflating anything. I'm saying I think it's perfectly reasonable in the context of a discussion where you've got research that suggests that people who are overweight and people who are obese can be more prone to particular health problems. I think it's quite reasonable in that context when we're talking about diet, we're talking about losing weight, gaining weight, whether people are happy or not.
They say I'm chubby.
Uh-oh, we singing.
But I really don't care.
Uh-oh.
I'm body positive.
They'll try to shame you, but you can't give a damn. Your body's your prerogative. Say body positive.
You heard that right. How is a woman supposed to say body positive these days when they're ass-exposing, plastic-titted clones everywhere, taking a shit all over the female ego?
Photoshop, corsets, and Botox, oh please.
And then there are mixed signals everywhere telling you to just be you.
But look like this.
Love yourself.
But look like this.
Be body positive.
But only if you look like this.
So a side effect of this glorification of very specific body types is the idea that fat bodies are unattractive, unappealing. On the opposite end of this, a lot of people argue against the existence of thin privilege because very thin bodies are also stigmatized in a sense.
Cut down on the food, don't eat, don't, overdo on the crisps and the chocolate and everything like that.
BBQ.
Together they receive nearly 1,200 quid in handouts every month, including £400 housing benefit to pay the rent. And yet for Amy, coming off benefits and finding a job is almost impossible.
Halted to fame when a video of her was posted online.
Ladies,
the sun is shining,
the pina coladas are flowing,
and everybody's headed to the beach. You know what that means.
It's time for some fun in the sun?
No, it's time to work on your bikini body. Before you slip into your swimsuit, you could start a grueling workout routine and manipulate your natural shape and skin tone to reach for an unattainable and oppressive idea of perfection.
I support the feminist goals because it's the right thing to do. Women ought to be treated equally. The benefits that come to me because friends who are women and colleagues get promoted too. The benefits that I get because my relationships, both with men, because I can be close with another man, I could walk hand in hand with him, and I'm feeling an incredibly close and good connection, but I'm not worried about somebody saying I'm gay.
I don't think you're gay, but you seem to be more woman than you are man. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
All of your qualities are that of a woman. You don't have any manly qualities. And you don't even seem to know what they are.
Give me pounds, give me dollars, give me francs, yeah. Straight to the bank, yeah. Fuck your things, cause the product is the thing, yeah.
I know this much is true.
Okay, so I'm here back to my roots of starting on YouTube at a women's march once again. Yes, they are still going on despite rape still not being legal in the West. And this time I'm going to be asking a bit of a different question. Instead of asking about rape culture, instead of asking about feminist values, would you rather have women's rights or Islam? Let's see how they react. Have women's rights or Islam? What?
Why are you at this rally ask that question? Provoking, like, an argument, which there's no point. Why can't we just plan together about feminism instead of you coming along here and starting a religious debate?
Because some people believe you should be stoned for the crime of being raped, and if you are protesting rape, you should be protesting the people that want to hurt you for being raped as well.
Barack Obama made it known that he was a weak male and by saying that he was the first feminist president. And you know you got to be weak.
Feminist makes you a weak man.
Because men are not feminist. But I do want to say...
Whoa, Jesse, wait. You are against the idea that men and women should have equal opportunities in the workplace? Or you're against the idea of that men and women should have equal access and equal opportunities? You're against that? Because that's what it means to be a feminist. If you're a man who believes that women can do everything that men can do and should get paid for the work they do and can be scientists and can be president even, if you're for that, you're saying you're a weak man?
You know, really? in theory that maybe, but in practice, that's not what it really means. And I hear a lot of conservative women speaking out against the feminist movement today, and they, as I have seen, hate men. You know, they hate the order of life, so they're going after these jobs and whatever they're doing, not because they really believe that it's a discrimination thing happening, but because they hate men.
Hi, Milo. Judith Island here from the Sydney Morning Herald and the Age. You've talked earlier in your speech about how women essentially don't have anything left to complain about, and there's been a great victory with feminism. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering what you make of the continued high rates of domestic violence and sexual assault around the world. Obviously, Harvey Weinstein's brought that to the fore. We've had a breakfast this morning here at Parliament about domestic violence. 1 in 3 women over 15 years of age in Australia experience physical violence, 1 in 5 sexual violence. What's your response to that? Is that not something still worth fighting for?
Well, those same studies, which are never quoted in full, show that men are just as bad victims of domestic violence as women are, by the numbers. So I don't think that we have a gendered problem. I think that activists from the left-wing press are determined to present it as a gendered problem, determined to drive a wedge between the sexes. Oh, poor women victimhood narrative. I don't see it that way. I think there is a violence problem, a domestic violence problem, but all of the serious crimes against women have been falling for decades in the West. Rape rates have been collapsing in the West for 40 years. And instead of being proud of it, you've asked your question. Instead of being proud of it, feminists pretend that there is now a rape culture on college campuses where 1 in 3 women is a victim of rape. They're not. To believe that, you would have to believe that college campuses are as dangerous for women as the Congo, where rape is used as a weapon of war. These numbers don't even stand up to common sense scrutiny. You know, they propel these myths about the wage gap, which are based on bogus economics. If you look deeper and further into the numbers, and they're always buried in there somewhere as dishonestly as the pieces are written, you discover that actually, you know, for everything that isn't perfect in our civilization, which comes from the way that men and women are different and interact differently, and sometimes there are differences in the things that one gender has to cope with versus the other, you find actually that men have just as much to deal with as women do. Women are judged relentlessly on their looks, but men are judged relentlessly on how much money they make and how successful they are. Women are... Excuse me, thank you. You know, rape rates have been collapsing for 30 years. We should be hugely proud of that, but feminists lie about it and claim that we're experiencing some sort of explosion of bad behavior towards women. I think it's probably because they think the rest of us are like their men. They think we're all Wieners, Weinsteins, and Spaceys. Well, libertarian and conservative guys I know are pretty respectful of women. It's your guys who aren't. I understand why Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin have low opinions of men. They think men are like their husbands.
Hey everyone!
I just wanna be the one you love. I just wanna be the one you love.